$11 billion. The mother of all bombers. Expensive enough to buy 2 Standard Warships. A bomber aircraft has put China on high alert. It's none other than the B-21 Raider. America's newest nuclear stealth bomber was built by Northrop Grumman, a sleek, highly capable weapon that will be so deadly it would force leaders in China or Russia to rethink wars for decades to come. Tensions have been rising between the US and China, and in response to rising concerns over a future conflict, both countries are currently stacking up their weapons. The B-21 Raider is the first new American bomber aircraft in more than 30 years and has been in secret development for a long time. The Pentagon made sure that almost every aspect of the program is classified. Only 600 people were invited to attend the unveiling at a Northrop facility in Palmdale, California. Visitors were required to turn over their mobile phones to security and were kept at least 75 feet away from the plane. Photographers were restricted to taking pictures of the bomber from a narrow set of angles. It was all protocol around the bomber. The unveiling of the B-21 is part of an effort by the Pentagon to modernize all 3 legs of its nuclear triad, which includes silo-launched nuclear ballistic missiles and submarine-launched warheads. This is with the objective of shifting from the counter-terrorism campaigns of recent decades to meet China's rapid military modernization. China's nuclear arsenal. China is investing and expanding the number of its land, sea, and air-based nuclear division platforms and constructing the infrastructure necessary to support this major expansion of its nuclear forces. In fact, the country is on track to having 1,500 nuclear weapons by 2035. It has also been making substantial progress in areas like hypersonics, cyber warfare, space capabilities, and other areas. China's progress in those areas presents the most consequential challenge to U.S. national security and the free and open international system, the Pentagon said, and their response to this was the B-21. The B-21. The B-21 will be one of the top 2 biggest aircraft acquisitions in U.S. military history, rivaled only by the F-35. This new bomber changes the game for the U.S. It allows the U.S. Air Force to take on much more complicated threats, like the threats that we all fear they could one day face from China or Russia. While the Raider may resemble its predecessor, the B-2, it's more survivable and can take on much more difficult threats. The way it operates internally is extremely advanced compared to the B-2 because the technology has evolved so much. According to the manufacturer Northrop Grumman, the B-21 was made using new manufacturing techniques and materials to ensure the bomber jet will defeat the anti-access area denial systems it will face. An interesting fact to note about the B-21 is how fast it was built. The bomber went from contract award to debuted in 7 years. Other new fighter and ship programs have taken decades. The Air Force has also tried to keep the cost of the bombers unknown. They previously put the price for a buy of the 100 aircraft at an average cost of $550 million each in 2010, roughly $753 million today. But it's still unclear how much the Air Force is actually spending. The fact that the price is not public troubles government watchdogs. The Raider will not make its first flight until 2023, but Northrop Grumman has been testing the Raider's performance using a digital twin, a virtual replica of the one being unveiled. Important writing on the B-21's virtual replica says you should go ahead to like this video and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. Air Force leaders envision the B-21 as the backbone of its future bomber force and a key element of the U.S. military arsenal for perhaps the next half-century. When the highly classified, secretive bomber starts arriving at Air Force bases later this decade, it will arrive with the capability to carry both nuclear and conventional weapons, including standoff and direct attack munitions. The B-21 versus its predecessor, the B-2. The B-21 has a flying wing design and resembles the aging B-2 Spirit nuclear stealth bomber, which Northrop built starting in the 1980s. The new plane is designed to fly thousands of miles by a pilot or eventually remotely and avoid detection before hitting enemy targets. Currently, 6 B-21 Raiders are in production. The Air Force plans to build 100 that can deploy either nuclear weapons or conventional bombs and can be used with or without a human crew. Its predecessor, the B-2, was also envisioned to be a fleet of more than 100 aircraft, but the Air Force ultimately built only 21 of them due to cost overruns and a changed security environment after the Soviet Union fell back then. In fact, fewer than 21 built is ready to fly on any given day due to the significant maintenance needs. But the B-21 Raider promises to be different. It will be slightly smaller than the B-2 to increase its range. The B-2 often does long round-trip missions because there are few hangars globally that can accommodate its wingspan. For example, in October 2001, B-2 pilots set a record when they had to fly for 44 hours straight to drop the first bombs in Afghanistan after the September 11th attacks. This limits where B-2s can land for needed post-flight maintenance. The new Raider will also get new hangars to accommodate the size and complexity of the bomber, and like its predecessor, the bad-shaped B-21 has a flying wing design with no tail and minimal fuselage, which reduces drag and its signature on enemy radar. When describing the Raider, U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said, "This isn't just another airplane, it's the embodiment of America's determination to defend the republic that we all love. We will soon fly this aircraft, test it, and then move it into production." 50 years of advances in low observable technology have gone into this aircraft, Austin said. Even the most sophisticated air defense systems will struggle to detect a B-21 in the sky. The might of the U.S. military. Underestimating the U.S. as a military foe is a surefire way to lose a war. The U.S. takes integrated air, sea, land, and space combat to a new level. Most adversaries of the USA have no clue about the capabilities of the USA. In regards to SIGINT, human, and space surveillance, let alone the pipeline of new tech and AI-directed weapons in the U.S. arsenal, the only advice I could give to any nation considering messing with the USA is go ahead to subscribe to this channel and like this video to stand a chance. No, but seriously, don't even think about it because the USA has so many public and non-public capabilities that it literally has to be seen to be believed. This long-awaited debut of the B-21 marks a milestone in reshaping the Air Force's creaky bomber fleet. It comes at a time when Russia is attempting to conquer Ukraine, China's view of Taiwan is sparking concern, and when the U.S. military wants a highly public deploy to serve as a pointed warning to America's adversaries. When the B-21 bomber comes, you'll hear it, but you won't see it.